Hey, beautiful people. My name's Kristen. Thank you for stopping by my channel today. I am going to be reviewing kind of sci-fi, fantasy, science books that are all fiction. So if you have interest in that, I am so glad to have you. If you like bookish related content and you're not already subscribed, I would ask that you consider doing that just to be part of this community going forward. So the 3 books that I read in the month of September that I have not yet reviewed for you, I read a compilation of shorter novels. They're not really short stories necessarily. I think the shortest was under 60 pages, but you can buy each of these as separate stories. So this is Brandon Sanderson's collection that are all set in his Cosmere universe, and a lot of them tell kind of extra bonuses about a lot of his characters or connecting the plots, and it will tell you at the beginning of each story if it has any spoilers or what you need to have read, or if you can read something ahead of time. But I highly recommend that you read his other main Cosmere novels, the Mistborn, the Stormlights, the Emperor's Soul, and those kind of book in Elantris, and then pick up this book, and then it's worth your extra time and effort. I particularly just really enjoyed the backstories connecting with the universes themselves. Let me see if I can quickly find the beginning of each section. So it would be something of this nature, where it goes along and tells you how everything interacts, and he always gives like a postscript where he says these, are the ways that these planets interact with one another. And he also gives little hints if he's going to continue some of these storylines or not. I hope in particular the secret history ones, he does continue to do those for us. But I really, really enjoyed that. If you are a Brandon Sanderson fan and have read his books, then this is like that four-star kind of level, like well worth your time. I then also finished Heretics of Dune by Frank Hebert. This is the 5th in the 6 books that Frank Hebert wrote. Then his son took it back over with another co-collaborator and continued the legacy, finishing off his notes and then creating their own continued stories within his universe that he creates. So this book was really good. I like this one substantially more than book 4. So he wrote 1, 2, and 3 as a trilogy. So many people just read that first trilogy, and I totally support those who decide just to read that first trilogy and stop. However, I am enjoying the end. The 4th book is meant to be an interlude and give you what you kind of need, the background, to then understand this trilogy. So this kind of begins a whole new saga with new characters, new time period, but it definitely, you need to have kind of read the first books to understand fully what's going on in this one. This really delves into the philosophy of the nature of preserving time and posterity. So you have one complete movement of people that has kind of a religious, if you will, study and worship over this shared memory. So the way that souls kind of immortalize or continue on is that once you die, all your memories get passed into the next kind of carrier of the memories. And so this person then has multiple lives, and it can be very complex and interesting. There's another group of people that go about passing on kind of continuing thing by cloning. So even if somebody passes away, then they reform that person over again, and then they can be kind of activated to remember a lot about their former selves or their former multiple selves lives. And so that's an interesting concept. And then you have in this book an introduction of a new race of women that are basically using sexuality as a spirituality power. And it's like, you know, a little creative, I will say. Little creative. I'm not sure that I totally understand it fully or appreciate it fully, but it's creative and it's interesting. And I will continue reading that next book this coming month. And then my final book is definitely science. Those were both sci-fi. This one is also science, and that's Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. So Garmus. So she tells a story, and the first section of it reads very much like a fun, lighthearted rom-com of a pair of scientists who the woman has so many obstacles to overcome, because this is set in the past where it's even more difficult for women to be recognized, and particularly in the field of science, that was definitely true and kind of maybe still is in a lot of realms. And then a major incident occurs, major life happening that changes the philosophy of the book to be very intense and very specific on a journey of trying to not necessarily fight for women's rights, but to just have all women's voices be heard and be celebrated and be honored. And it's done very lighthearted through encountering different housewives, encountering TV and cooking, encountering just animals who have their own kind of thoughts. And it's a beautiful, funny, poignant book. And so I absolutely give this 5 stars. It had gotten a lot of hype. I had really wanted to read it for a long time. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to get on with it, but I really like it. So if you've read any of them, spoiler-free comments, but let me know what you thought. If you want to read any of these now, let me know. Hope that you are having a joyous, beautiful day, whatever you are doing. Happy reading. Happy October, y'all. Take care.